Hey
Is
there, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today, our Inside Atomic Modular Systems talk is on the subject of FABlok, the building blocks of fabric design. Our presenter today is the amazing Rachel Finn, and I know that she is super excited to share all this information with you and answer any questions that you may have. On that note, questions. We have two ways that you can ask questions. The first way is on the top toolbar here, you'll see a Q&A section. If you go ahead and click that, you can type your question in. I'll be able to see it, and then we can answer your question. The other way that we'll handle questions today is if you digitally raise your hand, I'll be able to see that, and then I'll be able to give you permission on your end to unmute the mic, and we can interface with Rachel directly, one-on-one. It's going to be amazing. So, without further ado, I am going to hand the reins over to Rachel.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for attending today's FABlok, the building blocks of fabric design. We are very happy that you could attend this wonderful world of Inside Atomic Modular Systems. Atomic is a collection of rentable scenic elements that pack small and plays big. That is a very important saying of ours. They can be mixed, matched, stacked, branded, connected, and customized to fit your needs. I am your host. I'm sorry I hate this picture, but I am your host today, Senior Account Manager. Started off in a little bit about me, as little as possible. I started out in the advertising world, in production, doing commercials. Then I became on the other side, was a client. Then I was on the production company side, producing commercials. And then I started repping directors for commercials on the production side. And then I came to Atomic, my new life. And now I rep inanimate objects, not directors. And they're lovely and they never complain about everything and they love everything I do. So everything is great. That's what I do. Before I continue on, I would like to introduce you to our cohort and colleague on the other side of the pond in Germany, who's going to say a little bit about himself. So that is right there. Ben, please go ahead and introduce yourself and tell them a little bit more.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. And yeah, thanks bearing with me for a second while I introduce you to the European side of this atomic operation here. You see that pic, and on the left, that's not a real part of the atomic operation Europe. That's Brad, our new president. He's located in Lidditz, so he's not really in Frankfurt, but in the lower back, what you see there, that's Felix. That's the managing director of Atomic Europe. In the middle, that's Ollie taking warehouse of our European operation, and that's me on the right, doing pretty much the same that Rachel does, doing sales. In addition to that, I'm doing a bit of operations, marketing, and everything in between. So you see on that picture, I really love that slogan, "Hop the pond, keep the crew." That because that's exactly what you get from Atomic from our side. You get the same products, you get the same seamless atomic experience that you are already experienced, or hopefully already experienced, with Rachel and all the other AMs from our rest of the US locations. And so beside that, we are we have the same products that you guys are familiar with in the US. So most of the products that we have, like udon, the fabulous FABlok that Rachel's talking about in a minute, and wafer and udon, they are all imported from the US to Frankfurt on to the European operation. So that means you already have the familiar standards and everything else that you know from Atomic over here as well. Only difference is that our super lever panels that you might have seen before, they are white, not light gray. And that's because of fire regulations that we have here in Europe that are a bit more stricter than in the US. And our connectors for the super level line, they are made of aluminum, not of the 3D printed or the normal wide levers that you are familiar with in the US. But we do have the same experience in the event world that the guys in the US have. So we are locally experienced, and we are more than happy to help you with everything that your event might need. Let it be furniture, or let it be help with an AV company that you're looking for. We're here and ready to help you with everything that you need to make your event sparkle. And from the shipping side, somebody told me that shipping costs, for example, in the US are ridiculously high compared to what we have in Europe. So we can serve from our Frankfurt warehouse, we can serve all over Europe, not only the parts which are in the European Union, in addition to that, like parts that are in Europe, but not part of the European Union, like UK and Switzerland. We can serve all of them from our Frankfurt location and even beyond. I mean, we had like 2 months ago, we had a show in Abu Dhabi, for example. And so we can ship more or less everywhere that you can think of in Europe and in the Middle East, and even to Asia at some points. Yeah, so that's more or less about me, about the European operations, and we're more than happy if you have a show over the pond. Reach out to Rachel or give us a shout on Frankfurt at atomicdesign.tv, and we are happy to help you. So that's about it. And yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, back to Rachel.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for those words. And now let's get on with the show. As your master of ceremonies, I will continue. So let's talk about FABlok, fabulous FABlok. So if you've never used FABlok before, these are our panels. We have dune, notch, mini gas turbine, wave, and wedge. Here on the right, we have one of our colleagues, Zimmy, who's showing you this is what it looks like when you take it out of the road case. It's a piece of stretch fabric that is on a metal frame, as you see here. That is how it comes. So that is what the actual FABlok frame is. But with our products, you can do different things with them. So this shows you how by inserting different product into it, pieces that we have, it gives it a sculptural look. And some of them are a little different without the insert, which you'll see as he's building this particular piece here. All the FABloks can be built in all the same ways as the others: walls, hanging, columns, you name it. So let's get into it. One of our panels is called Notch. The way Notch is it has that frame, as we talked about, and you have a plastic insert that gets inserted there, and then you push it out to get the look you want. There is Zimmy again. That shows you the pieces. So you get the flat FABlok frame, and then you get the insert, and then you put it in there. As you see, gets it all in those edges. Good job, Zimmy. And bam, look at that. It's popped out and looks phenomenal. So that's what you have to do when you get these. You do have to do that section where you add the piece on the dune. Here's some pictures of what they look like on action, in action on your stage. They light beautifully. They look great. They can play with all our other products, including here our super zippers. Here we have Nicole. You think she's an accepting award? Absolutely not. She is talking about all the fabulous virtues of the dune FABlok. Anyway, so there you have her with the dune. And here you see dune again. You can see the person on stage, and you can see a little bit them with the head chopped off in the screen above, what it looks like on camera. Here you have the dune again, and shows again all the various lighting you can do with it. Here's what dune looks with partially natural light and some uplights. Here's a surprising thing. The thing that's great about using most of our FABloks is when you put the insert in, you have two ways of lighting. You can do the front direct light, as you saw here, but you can also light it from behind and get a different look. So if you want to do a quick change, none other than switch off the fronts and show the lighting in the back. Here it is again, showing the lighting in the back on the dunes. So all the negative space without the insert gives a different look. Here you have it again. Here you have dune without the backlight. And here you have some more. I don't know how this one got in. Oh, yes, I know why. If you look down below where the DJ is, that's a different panel. That's our wave. And then the dune, yeah, those are all waves. And again, they have the reverse light. And you can see how they play. Those are super walls with all the other products that you see on the stage. This is our notch. There he is again. There's Zimmy. Go Zimmy. He's putting that insert in there so beautifully. You stick it in. It shows you how. So that is something you have to do when you get the product. But then again, this is how it looks. I wanted to also mention that with our FABlok, you can also use this stretch fabric and do custom printing, which is something if you're interested in, we can talk to you about. So yes, you can do custom printing along with our FABlok panels. And here is the notch again. And again, this is the notch with the reverse lighting, with the lighting on the back. And this is our wave. There is me again, sticking that panel in there. And again, you can see how these all play together. This is how they look with the reverse lighting inside the column. It was all done internally. There was no front lighting except what they have on above lighting. Here you have custom panel, Social Innovation Summit. You have wave, left, right, and bottom. Above is our turbine. And here's another view. Now, what I also want to mention is these panels that are dimensional are fabulous with doing any kind of video mapping that you want to do on them. This is all the wave, and they designed the video mapping as you see here. If you're interested, we can send you videos of how it looks when it's actually moving. But these are both video mapped, and they looked fabulous in the event. People would just stand there and watch that as it played out. And here's the wave again for Experian. You have them hanging from a truss, and you have them in super walls. And then to the right of that, those are super walls with custom printed panels on the front. So this all plays together nicely. Here again, you have the wave lit from the front. Lit from the back. And here is what it looks like on the back. We used metal frames on the upstage side of that wall. Super walls need two sides. And here it is in natural light, and it still gives a nice shadow. We use gray, light gray for all of our panels, which captures the light more. We don't have the issues that Ben said with using gray in the United States. They use white. And here we see Zimi again. This is our wedge. So this does not have as much negative space. So you'd only see a little bit of it peeking out if you lit it from behind. I've not seen that done, but I bet it would look cool. So anyway, there is how the wedge looks. It looks almost like blocks. And here you have Ariana singing the praises of ATOMIC FABlok panels. Here you see again the FABlok in the wedge fashion. Here you have the FABlok. It is actually hanging from the truss in the arch position. They might have some bases on the left and right. And then in the middle, that is a super wall you're seeing there. This is the wedge again around a screen. They have a super wall to the left, to the right of the wedge, and then below it is the wedge. Here they mixed up custom panels on the front. They used wedge on the top, and on the sides they used comb with frosty behind them, and you get this really cool, interesting, looks like a very custom look. Here's a campaign that our friends Ben and his team put together. This is on a stage with wedge for the same event. They had these out in the lobby, and then here it is hanging. Now, this is another product that is in FABlok, but it's a little different. Instead of putting the inserted panel on, all you do is stick the peg there that you see in the middle, and done. This is our turbine. So you can see how it looks on stage as a wall. This is also turbine, and it gives a very cool look with the pageant people there. And this is our mini gauze. This has no insert or peg at all. You just can either hang it the way that Zimmy has it, like this, with it fluttery, or you can turn it and it gives the flat look that you're seeing there. These all play with other different panels. There you go. Good job, Zimmy, showing you how we can change the look all in a turn. Woo! Magic. So there you see how that works. One thing I want to say about these panels is because they are fabric, you can use these outside. Most of our panels are plastic that are in the modular line, and they do not do so well under direct light in the sun. The sun is the biggest spotlight there is, and it can sometimes they melt it just like the witch does. But use these outside and you are fine and good to go. And they have a lot of movement when the wind's blowing and they look fabulous. And any of the other FABloks you saw. This is our pyramid with the mini gauss in I'm not sure if it's hanging or super wall. I think it's a super wall there. And here you have the mini gauss with custom panels. And there we are at the very end of this presentation. I really appreciate you all being here. Do you have any questions? Any questions? Sam, are there any questions?
I see Josh has just raised their hand, so I'm gonna see if I can get this to work.
Okay.
Please hold, please hold. It says mute disabled. Josh, are you able to unmute your mic? Can you try and say something?
There you go. Go for it. Are you talking? How come we don't hear Josh?
I'm sorry, Josh. I'm having a bit of trouble on my end here. It's just showing me how to prevent you from talking rather than letting you talk. If you could drop the question in the Q&A, I'd really appreciate it.
Well, sorry that had an issue, but we are happy to listen to your question. Well, read your question. We won't hear your fabulous voice, I'm sorry to say. But I'm going to keep this up and we're going to wait for Josh. And anybody else who has any questions, please feel free to raise your hand and we will be happy to take that question.
There we go.
All right. And we will get this right the next time so people can talk.
Rachel, the question that we have is what's the maximum height for ground supported super walls?
Okay, so it really depends on what panel you're talking about. The FABloks are quite sturdy because of the metal frames. Typically, we can go up to 10 panels high. When we do that, we have to put a upright inside an internal support wall. If it's a wall, it has to have an internal support wall. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to go back so you can see what I'm talking about. We're going to go to a super wall that you can see the side of. There will be one, I hope. We'll get to one that has a super wall with a side. Not so much, huh? So there it was. There it is. Okay. So you see how that's the end of the super wall there. That's the end wall on left and right. That same wall, there's a way to have one built inside of your super wall. And we use clear panels so you do not have a drop shadow in there. And that support wall goes inside the wall so that it can be built at a higher height. Typically, depending on the width, determines how many, and we will indicate on your quote, and it'll be called out how many support walls you need and where they are located. So on the back side, the other thing that I wanted to show is to give it more support on the back side. You see these metal frames on the upstage? We will generally put some of these in the back too. If you're going to be lighting them from behind, it makes it easier because you don't want to be having your wall built and all of a sudden you need to take a panel out of the bottom because you want to internally light it. So that gives you access to the back side. But also we sometimes put these in there so that you have the stability on the backside if you're going to be using propane, and also depending on how you're lighting, because in this one, the way that they lit it, you don't see the frames on the backside. It works out really well. But you may decide you're going to have people walking behind there, or going to have equipment or whatever. You don't want to worry about shadowing. So you can use a propane, which is a solid gray panel for the whole back, except for maybe the bottom row with the metal frames. They are the same fee as the propane, which is $15 a panel, if that's what you want to do. If you want to use FABlok on both sides and just light from the front or back, then we can discuss all of that in details, and we'll help you determine the hardware you need, because this is part of the hardware. But typically, FABlok can go up to 10 panels high, but you're going to have a support wall inside of here that will be about every 2 seams for you to be able to make that work. So, but typically people do these at about 7 panels high, which is 13 feet 1 inch. At 10 panels high, that is 18 feet 9 inches high. Most people do it about between 7 and 8 panels high. 8 panels high is 15 feet.
Thanks for that, Rachel. We do have another question from Bill. Bill would like to know about the turnaround time for custom printed panels.
Custom printed panels, depending on what kind. If you're talking about the fabric one, that's a different thing, and I can get into that. But if you're talking about these panels here, these are $100 per. Each panel is 22.5 inches by 22.5 inches. They are all on the light gray, and we can print them whatever color you want. You provide us the AI or EPS of the logo, and we can print it for you. We require, from the time you give us the artwork, typically 10 to 15 business days, depending on what time of year you're talking about. Does it mean we can't do it less than that? If it's really urgent, potentially, depending again on time of year, but typically it's 10 to 15 business days on the turnaround on these. At this moment, all of our custom panels are fabricated in Pennsylvania at our headquarters. So wherever, we always try to ship the product from the closest location possible to your venue. However, the custom panels will have to ship from Pennsylvania, and then depending, we'll transfer them into your order. So that those days that I told you are just for the fabrication, and then you have to add on ship days, anywhere from expedited overnight to typically about 5 business days for traditional shipping. I hope that answers your question. The cloth one, you did that recently. How did you have about the same turnaround on that, Sam, for the stretch fabric?
I typically give a 15 business day lead time before ship, just to cover everybody's bases, gives us time to do the proofing process, manufacturing, and all that. So yeah, I think you covered that really well, Rachel. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Next question. Is there a projection surface that we supply to be installed in the system?
We do not supply anything having to do with projection, unless we do have a product that is not part of this presentation, where you do get, I'll go to this if I can find it. Where is it? Where did I have that again? I think it was back here. There it is. Sometimes people will want to use the stretch fabric instead of printing on it. We can actually provide the stretch fabric. There is a fee to have it exact the size that you want, to have it be part of your wall that you could project on, and we can talk about that off. You can reach out to us directly, but typically on any of these type of situations you see here, where there is like that screen there, we did not do that. The client provides and arranges for all that. So, and what I should mention about that is the client will tell us how big the screen is, and then sometimes they'll have to, as you see there, use some kind of matting around the screen, or duvetine, or some way to hide the distance between the panel and the screen, but it still looked fabulous. Any other questions?
I'm not seeing anything at this time, but everybody can feel free to reach out to their account manager, reach out to me, reach out to Rachel. If you have any questions after, we're more than happy to take care of you. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, thank you all so much for attending. This will also be, I'm not sure, is this, I think it goes on our website, or there's a way you can ask your account manager if you want to share this with other people on your team so they better understand the FABlok, and also if they're interested in seeing those videos that Zimmy did to show you how they go together, we're happy to share that with you. So thank you again. We appreciate being part of this seminar. And before I forget, the other thing I want to mention is if you're interested in attending more of these, let me get to it. Up. There is the next one with, don't miss Brandon Cardenas. He is fabulous, and he's going to talk to you about our new panel release, which is Slot Lock. It's a brand new product line. If you haven't heard of it, you should. It's very different in terms of the look of what we do for our other panels. So that's going to be March 26th. We'll let you know when that's going to be. If you want to find out more or be on that list, please take this down. This will have the information so that you can sign up to be on the email list of when we do these inside Atomic Modular Systems. And that concludes our meeting for today. Thank you so much. I will take a bow. Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. And you're going to stop the recording.